Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Ruby Rogues podcast. This week on our panel, we have Luke Stutters.
Hello.
John Epperson.
Hello, everybody.
Now, I set the topic this week, and it was something that I kind of been thinking about a little bit since we did a similar episode on JavaScript Jabber. And people have really actually been enjoying it. So on JavaScript Jabber, Dan Shapir, who's one of our panelists over there, we did like 2 episodes of what are the things that JavaScript developers need to know? And I thought, oh, this is perfect. Let's do this for Ruby, right? What are the things that Rubyists need to know? So generally, it was mostly kind of the fundamentals, right? What are the fundamental things that Rubyists need to understand in order to be competent Rubyists, right? And when we were getting started, John, you asked a question that was essentially, is this for like mid-level people or beginners? And it's kind of for everybody in the sense that if you don't understand these things, and I've kind of got a list in my head, I didn't get a chance to write them all down. But if you don't understand these things, then you're going to at some point wish you had, right? And so for the mid-level folks, it's going to be, stuff that you probably know most of, and you probably ought to bone up on the rest. For new people, you're going to know some of it, right? Because you went through boot camp or what have you, and you're going to need to learn the rest. And for senior folks, it might be good to go review some of this stuff, is kind of how I see it. So it's stuff that people are going to need to know one way or the other. So that's kind of where I'm coming down. Did you work your tail off to get that senior developer gig just to realize that senior dev doesn't actually mean dream job? I've been there too. My first senior developer job was at a place where all of our triumphs were the bosses and all the failures were ours. The second one was a great place to continue to learn and grow, only for it to go under due to poor management. And now I get job offers from great places to work all the time. Not only that, but the last job interview I actually sat in was a discussion about how much my podcast had helped the people interviewing me. If you're looking for a way to get into your dream job, then join our Dev Heroes Accelerator. Not only will we help you get the kind of exposure that makes you attractive to your dream employer, but you'll be able to ask them for top dollar as well. Check it out at devheroesaccelerator.com. And I'm a little curious before I kind of get into some of the things that I have in my head. Are there areas that you feel like kind of come to your mind just off the top of your head, or maybe in the last few minutes since the topic was brought up? Metaprogramming.
Metaprogramming is the killer of beginner Ruby developers.
Repos. I agree. There's a lot of double-edged swords in Ruby. I think this is a good topic for us to talk about. It's totally a double-edged sword. It's a very powerful tool that you can cut your own hand off with, right? And there's tons of those in Ruby. And I think that knowing a lot of those and understanding why you would want to use it and why you wouldn't want to use it is absolutely valuable, in my opinion. I agree with you, Luke.
Okay. So I agree with John. This is something that gets people into trouble, but it's also very, very handy, right? So I guess maybe we should get a little more specific as far as not just what they need to know about it, but what they need to know about when to use it, when not to use it, I guess.
Specific for beginner developers, having lived this life experience. So I've done a whole load of coding before at university and elsewhere. You start working for a company, it's a Ruby on Rails shop. Maybe you haven't touched Ruby on Rails before and something's on fire and you have to fix it. Or there's something that no one's, you're the first person to look at this. Maybe the old developers left and you picked it up. And this is your introduction to Ruby on Rails. Yeah. If there is a function or method name in Rails, you cannot find it through text search every time. So when you see a method call, a function call in Ruby,